about normal, pretty high percentage rate there. It seems to indicate that imagery helps you get farther. I don't know necessarily how imagery works, but there's clear research that indicates it does. It's free and available. So how are you going to figure out what images make you feel more confident? How are you going to figure out when to image what and in what fashion? Whether you're watching yourself on TV or seeing it like it's out of your own eyes, big, little, black and white color. How are you going to figure out how to use imagery systematically to help you perform better? Anybody use imagery to help them wrestle better? Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. So how are you going to figure out what images to use and when to use them? This is not rocket science, guys. Trial and error. Okay, I'm trying to motivate you to practice. And practice your mental skills too. Imagery works, it helps you get farther. But how are you going to get the benefit of that if you don't test it out and try it? Also talk to other people about what are you using, how are you using imagery? Maybe imitate the great ones. Okay? The other point of the exercise is, you know how far you can go? Well, yeah, I think so because I just marked it. But no, it turns out 2 minutes later you can get farther for most of you. And for the 3 of you that didn't, if you practice yoga for an hour a day for a week, I guarantee you can stretch farther than your life. Okay, so you can always get farther. So how are you going to earn peace of mind that comes from knowing you did your best? You can always do better by doing your best now. Humans aren't meant to do their best every time. That's not the way it works. How do you give your best effort now? Well, the third step of culture, the way we do things here that I want to recommend is forgiveness. Because if you're going to maintain enthusiasm through the challenges of getting better, you're going to have to be able to let it go. You don't know what the bathtub test is? No. The bathtub test is where you put 2 inches of water in the bathtub, you take off your socks and shoes, you step into the bathtub, and you test out whether or not your feet get wet. Because if you can walk on water, you're God, and it's okay to expect perfection. But if you're human, your feet are going to get wet, and you're going to make mistakes. So forgive so that you can forget about it. Okay? This doesn't mean it's okay to be mediocre. This doesn't mean it's okay to be mediocre. Normal is often an excuse. So strive for perfection, but don't expect it. Okay? Shoot for the stars, but don't expect perfection because you're human. Okay? The scientists think if you're not paying attention to the details and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, you're just doing what you're told and you're hustling, you're working hard so you think that you're good, then you're not going to improve your mental game as fast as somebody else. When you think like a scientist, then you hypothesize about how to get what you want. Okay? When you pay attention to the details, then you get better faster. So what are the details of how to control the controllables? Get to this green light state where it's go, go, go. 5 steps to be mentally tough. 5 skills to be clutch. Okay, 1 is self-talk. How many of you have self-talk right before and during the match? Everybody. Okay? That's the way humans are built. Okay? The question is, does your thoughts, do they help you? Okay? Do they help Muhammad Ali? He said, I'm the greatest, and I said that even before I knew I was. So confidence is an attitude. Most people think confidence comes from doing well. Right? Kind of makes sense. Most people think confidence comes from the way you prepare. And it does. But here's the distinction I want to make. Confidence comes from the way we're thinking about our preparation and our experiences. So if you make a mistake and you're a perfectionist, you're probably going to think in a way that blows that mistake up, affects your confidence and your ability to focus. But that is not the thinking pattern of great athletes. Great athletes understand that everybody makes mistakes. They learn from it and then let it go. Or they target for later. I'll go back and look at the film later and try to figure out what adjustments to make, but right now is not the time to be thinking about that. So I'm going to let it go. How many of you agree with this statement? I won the lottery when I was born. Okay? Good. What does it mean to win the lottery? It means you beat the odds at 10 million to 1 based on no skill. And as a result, you're really rich. I don't know, how many of of y'all majored in history when you were in college? Okay, one. He raised his hand. There you go. Okay, the rest of you haven't gone to college yet, but do you know enough about history to know the chances of surviving to age 5 if you've been born anytime in any place in history? Less than 50%. The fact that you're alive, the chances of you having the health and the wealth and the freedom to come to Dallas and wrestle today, Fort Worth, Justin, chances for that, more than 10 million to 1. But it's so much easier to compare yourself to somebody else. Oh, he's got better genes, he's got better fast twitch muscle fibers, he's bigger, his parents bought him a new car. It's so easy, it's our thoughts determine our attitude. It's very hard to feel stressed and grateful at the same time. So if you bring a grateful attitude that comes from, attitudes come from thoughts, that comes from the thought, I won the lottery when I was born, then it's a lot easier to just be yourself, to be relaxed and perform. So, the question is not if you're going to think, the question is are your thoughts going to create the attitude that leads to you performing at your best. You play better, you wrestle better when you're aggressive, when you're confident, when you're having fun. Okay? If you're thinking, oh my God, this guy's so good, that is not the thinking pattern. If you're thinking, I can always give my best effort, I know I can do my best, then you're going to be confident no matter who you're going up against. Okay, so I want to do a little bit another activity. I'm not a psychiatrist. If you got a diagnosable disease, call a shrink, or I call that person a stretch because you're going to stretch your mind on shrinking. Okay, they might have you look at the Rorschach test that I put out on the left. Okay, but we're going to not do a Rorschach test because I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a coach trying to help you get more consistent, deal with pressure more effectively. Okay, so this is not a Rorschach test, but what I want you to do is tell me where do you see those figures? There's one on the left that's a little bit hard to see. Where do you see the figures? You can still see it. Who said that? Okay, good job for speaking up.